Hi, I'm Dave, welcome to the channel. Today I'm going to talk about flower pots. So you're probably thinking he's lost the plot here. What have flower pots got to do with slot cars? Well, I'm going to tell you. See this here? This is a taupe pot and it is an incredible thing. You may just think it's a flower pot, but let me tell you a little story. The horticulture industry globally is massive. And obviously every plant that you used to go to a garden centre and buy in a pot came in a black plastic pot. Gardeners, being fairly environmentally conscious, were aware of the fact that plastic's bad, and especially non-recycled plastic and black plastic, which can't really be recycled again and isn't easy to identify in recycling processes. So the entire global industry collaborated and came up with this new plastic, and they collaborated not just amongst themselves as the horticulture industry, but with the global recycling industry to come up with something that was this particular colour. And the reason for that is because it can be identified really easily by all the recycling machines. So you throw one of these old flower pots, if it's broken, in the recycling, it will definitely get found by the machine very efficiently, and it will definitely be put into recycling very efficiently. This is brilliant. This is two massive global industries coming together and doing something that's actually good for everybody. So I was thinking about our hobby of slot cars, and I was thinking, actually, we could do a lot more as a hobby. Well, not we, but the manufacturers could do a lot more. We could demand that they do a lot more as well, I suppose. And this taupe plastic pot is very much part of that. We consume an awful lot of black plastic. And no, we don't just buy it, use it, throw it away. We'd keep it for a while, but we do get through quite a lot of black plastic. And I was wondering, does it all need to be black? So I thought I'd look at the three main aspects of our hobby that involve plastic and see if we could do better, or at least if we could demand that the manufacturers do better for us on our behalf. Because if a global industry like the horticulture industry can, then a little industry like the slot car industry certainly can. So I'm going to break this down into three areas: track, packaging for slot cars, and the slot cars themselves. I'm going to start with track. Now, here we are. This is a piece of Carrera track. It's a black plastic piece of track. Now, traditionally, there's nothing wrong with a bit of black plastic track, apart from if you look at all the videos on YouTube where people paint their tracks to make them look more realistic, the base colour they start with is the colour of this pot. Now, I don't know about where you live, but I live in the UK, and if you go in a charity shop or you look on Facebook Marketplace or whatever, there is buckets and buckets and buckets of old discarded Scalextric track everywhere. Now, I know that's all been and gone, and that's black, but this will happen in the future as well. And the trouble is, because you pretty much can't give it away because there's so much of it kicking about, people are throwing it away, and it's black plastic, and it's ending up in landfill. Whereas if it was this colour, I mean, you don't need me to say it. Now, I don't think it's an unreasonable ask of the slot car industry to make track that's the colour we want, that as a happy consequence also happens to be very recyclable plastic. That to me sounds like doing something for us, making track more like what we want it to be, and doing something for the planet at the same time as a bonus. It's not even a chore. So I really do think, from that point of view, track manufacturers should consider what colour track they make in the future. The second area to look at here is the boxes the slot cars come in. Now, this area of the industry is probably the worst bit in terms of use of plastic and the wrong sort of plastic and everything. If we take one of these slotted boxes, and it doesn't need to be a slotted one, it could be any one of them, sideways and so on, they all use pretty much the same box. It's a big load of black plastic in the bottom. Doesn't need to be black, does it? We've already covered this. And then there's this big clear piece of brittle plastic jewel case on the top. Now, If you look, and it doesn't matter whether it's an NSR one or a sideways one or a Pioneer one or any of them really, if you look at them, not one of these plastic boxes has a single recycling logo on it anywhere, nor does it have anything to say that it's made of any recycled plastic. Now, they have to put the logos on if you can, and they're not allowed to put them on if you can't. So any manufacturer of anything will sing from the rooftops that they're using recycled stuff and how great they are for the, doing their bit for the planet if they're doing it. You'll note all of the slot car manufacturers totally silent on this, and if you go and inspect any of the boxes you've got, you will not see a single logo on there that suggests that you can recycle any of the plastic in any way at all. Carrera are probably one of the worst offenders because for some reason, their slot cars are the same size as everybody else's, but their boxes are twice as big. Why? Why indeed? Most of them are black. Obviously, these digital ones are a bright blue. That's not actually a lot better. It might as well be black for all the good it is. If you look at a Scalextric one, they do a bit better because this is white, and I think it might be recyclable, but again, there's nothing on it to actually say it's made of anything recycled or it could be recycled in any way. So this is all landfill when you've had enough of it. And as you know, if you drop one of these, it'll crack, it'll break, it's going in the landfill straight away. And if you're a retailer and you've got a box full of them and you drop it, well, that's all going in the landfill because they'll all be broken. From a retailer's point of view, especially these days when we all buy slot cars online, we don't go in a shop and look at one in a box. You don't need to be able to see through the box for the purposes of selling it, which is all these jewel cases were ever for in the first place. There just aren't displays like that unless you go to UK Slot Fest once a year, twice a year. So it seems a little bit pointless. And obviously Revo Slot know this because this is a Revo Slot box. It's made of cardboard and the insert is made of cardboard. There is minimal amounts of plastic in here. Revo Slot are, as they are with many aspects of slot cars, leading the way here, definitely. And the final thing to look at is the cars. Now, the underneath of every slot car is pretty much black plastic. And again, it's not recyclable. The top of a car, yeah, that's not recyclable either. But the body shell is the thing we really want. Okay, yes, we want the running gear underneath. But in certain manufacturers' cases, if you really want a decent body that runs well, you need to just junk the chassis that's underneath it. So if any single part of a slot car is likely to be thrown away, it's going to be the chassis because somebody will put a better chassis under it or build their own chassis or whatever. But the underneath, the bit that we don't see when the car's going round the track, is once again black plastic. It doesn't need to be. And again, it doesn't matter whether it's an NSR or a Pioneer or a Sideways or a Carrera or a Scalextric car. They're all the same. They're all black underneath. The exception to this seems to be some of the more recent slotted motorpods, which are in fact, look, a lovely taupe grey colour. Slotted have obviously started on this journey. I implore them to continue and to lead the way a bit with this because they've got the idea. Whether that's by accident or not, I don't know. But well done, Maurizio and Maurizio. You're going the right way about this. Just do a little bit more. And of course, Revo Slot don't use any plastic in their chassis at all. It's a piece of aluminium, which is of course recyclable. It's anodised black, but that doesn't really matter. So once again, Revo Slot lead the way. So there we are. That's just kind of three aspects of our hobby that I think we as a hobby, we could do better. And we could demand of our industry that they do better. Because one of these bright days, we're all going up in a hole in the ground and our descendants are going to throw all these bits of plastic away, probably. I'm sorry, but they probably will. And I'd rather they threw them all in the recycling bin than the landfill bin. So that's my two penneth on the subject. I don't think that some of these things are that unachievable. I don't think they're very much of a big ask of the industry. we should be doing a bit more, all of us. And I know that's a bit of a trendy, cheesy thing to say, but it is true as well. So I'm sure a lot of you will have an opinion on this, and I'm sure you'll provide excellent feedback in the comments underneath this video. I'm not trying to change the world here. I'm just trying to start a conversation that nobody else seems to have really started yet. So, thank you very much for watching one of my videos. If you liked it, you'll find a button specifically for that. If you hit the subscribe button, that really does help the channel. And if you hit the bell, you will get a notification the next time I post a video. And check out this slot car channel.